I think this is not only obviously the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career, but in a career that's filled with almost nothing but huge fights, this is the biggest fight of Canelo Alvarez's career.
A lot stronger, and I think he's gonna have better endurance. Not being able to boil himself down like that, and even though it is a huge jump, I think we lose sight of the fact of how much he had to boil down and how gaunt he looked at 140.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
Well, you know how to box. When you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
As the huge fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford gets closer, Max Kellerman has shared his final thoughts. As part of Netflix's top broadcast team for this mega boxing event, Kellerman brings his well-known sharp analysis and deep knowledge of boxing history to what could be one of the sport's biggest nights.
A great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. Kellerman isn't holding back, calling Canelo versus Crawford the most watched championship fight in nearly 50 years. He compares it to Muhammad Ali's 1978 rematch with Leon Spinks, which had an incredible 90 million TV viewers. With Netflix behind this fight, Kellerman says it's more than just a big event. It changes boxing's business model and could attract far bigger numbers than normal pay-per-view.
But where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the fight?
Yeah, the magnitude, yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko, those are big fights, but this will, listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in '78, and they did 90 million TV sets, 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather, Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, that's 20 million people. This is gonna do multiples of that. So, so when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
Dana White revealed in a press conference that Kellerman will return as part of Netflix's commentary team for the Canelo vs. Crawford fight on September 13, 2025, a veteran analyst from ESPN and HBO. Kellerman will join John Anik and Hall of Famer Andre Ward to call the fight at Allegiant Stadium. He called this fight the perfect storm and praised both boxers as elite pound-for-pound fighters. Kellerman even said Crawford has his vote for number 1, while noting Canelo recently held that spot too. He explained that only 25 to 30 fighters in history have reached that level, making this showdown truly rare.
I want to bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm, First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. None of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see. You know who's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound-for-pound. Who was the best pound-for-pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, I don't know, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're going to fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him, and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Timothy Bradley Jr. predicts that the first round of Canelo versus Crawford won't be fireworks, but more like a chess game. He expects both fighters to stay cautious, carefully studying each other's timing, distance, and rhythm. Bradley says Crawford often takes his time to set traps in big fights, while Canelo usually spends early rounds adjusting to his opponent. He believes fans should expect a slow start, with both fighters collecting information before the fight heats up later.
Feel his punching power as well. You know, in the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm. You know, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. You know, it takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although I would say he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, you know, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. You know, and the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. You know, he usually takes off, just feels the power, you know, cruises, you know, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, you know, just gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's going to be a real, like, calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure, man. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? And let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, you know, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next. During those periods right there, Crawford is one of the best at it, okay? Because he's smart, he's cerebral. Like, a fighter to a fighter, we can feel when another fighter is like, oh, he's on my rhythm.
Shocker Stevenson strongly believes Bud Crawford will beat Canelo and might even stop him. Stevenson has praised Crawford's speed, ring IQ, and southpaw stance as huge advantages. He even said Crawford will cook Canelo, warning fans of a one-sided fight. Stevenson first made this prediction back in 2021 and has stuck to it, insisting Crawford's accuracy and ability to adjust make him the clear favorite in this high-stakes matchup.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, you know, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, you know, in certain fights,
boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height-wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so. No, I think that's possible. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud can crack too. So
Crawford's unanimous win over Israel Madrimov at 154 pounds gave him more than a title. It changed his legacy. He became a 4-division world champion and the first man in boxing's 4-belt era to be undisputed into weight classes, super lightweight and welterweight. This shows his rare versatility and greatness across divisions. In his debut at junior middleweight, Crawford outsmarted Madrimov, who was known for power and strength, using accuracy and defense to win. This fight proved Crawford can carry his skills to bigger weight classes. Not just survive, but dominate, securing his place as one of boxing's most dangerous fighters ever.
August of 2024, he spent from 2018 until August of 2024, right? 6 years at 147. Okay. And he's had 8 fights at 147, all knockouts, and 1 fight at 154, which was a unanimous decision over Israel Madrimov. So you can make a case he's actually a welterweight jumping to 168. But he did make a pit stop at 54 and became a champion. So we have to acknowledge that because that goes into his accomplishment bags. That makes him a 4-division champion. So the concern is Terence Crawford jumping up in weight. This is a weight class that Canelo Alvarez has now been in since 2020. He's been at this weight for 5 years when he made his debut against Caleb Smith. But remind you, he fought against Danny Jacobs at 160 in 2019. Then in November of 2019, he jumped to 75 and fought Sergey Kovalev, then came back down to 68. So it's doable, right? But with that said, everybody's concerned with the weight and how Terence Crawford puts on the weight. So let's explain it. As you see the new photos that Terence Crawford has leaked, Terence Crawford has lean bulked. Okay, as you see here, Terence Crawford there, right? He has lean bulked. Okay, he put the bulk on in his weight, in his legs, and in his shoulders to be able to take the punch.
Trainer Dave Caldwell points to Crawford's unique style, especially his ability to switch stances and use his footwork to control range. He says Crawford's movement is underrated because it helps him create angles, frustrate opponents, and set the pace of fights. Against a pressure fighter like Canelo, Caldwell believes this could be key. If Crawford stays mobile and avoids being trapped on the ropes, he has the tools to outmaneuver Canelo and build points.
When the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch. He's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, he might. I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet have never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement of feet. His feet aren't the fastest. And he loads up. And he don't really like boxing at a pace. So I kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he can manage moments, tough moments. When Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's going to know about it because Crawford's been hurt before. And Crawford gets hit. He does get hit. That's why he's exciting. But he does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on him. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb and Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off at an angle.
Veteran trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas says Crawford doesn't know how to lose. He means Crawford's mindset is rock solid, combining physical gifts like speed, defense, and adaptability with an iron will to win. Atlas believes this mental edge separates him from other fighters. Crawford's belief in himself and refusal to quit give him an extra advantage, helping him perform even better under pressure. Atlas sees these hidden strengths as what makes Crawford not just skilled, but truly dangerous.
Crawford, his composure going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo.
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford.
Yeah.
He's the
weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. Yeah. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. You think it'll be, oh my God, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. That ain't happening with Crawford. Yeah. He knows exactly what he's getting himself and why. He's the one looking for it. He don't have nobody with a gun behind him saying you got to go do this. He's the one. And look, it's a tremendous challenge because Canelo's a tremendous fighter and bigger and strong, and he can obviously he can punch and he can time you, and he can do all the things that have made him so special. There's no doubt about it. But we're forgetting about those things I just talked about with Crawford just because he's smaller. We're forgetting that. He'll come up with a game plan where he won't let the other guy use his size. Do you remember somebody named Manny Pacquiao when he was making his bones, the first time he hit the big stage? He got all these great fighters here. It was with a guy named Oscar De La Hoya, a hell of a fighter. And everyone said, oh, it'd be too small for him. And then I said, I got to say, I got one right. I said, how about Manny's going to be too fast for him? Oh, Teddy, the guy's going to. How about he's going to be too quick? How about he's going to be like a couple of those mosquitoes and gnats at a barbecue and disrupt the whole damn barbecue? How about that? Yeah. Well, how about Crawford disrupts the whole damn barbecue?
When it comes to Canelo Alvarez, opinions often go to extremes. Some critics downplay his record by saying his opponents weren't strong, while others praise his career without question. Canelo responds by saying it takes two fighters to make a great matchup, and many of his opponents only aim to survive instead of fighting to win.
It's just a fact. Canelo has fought the who's who. Sure, were all of them in their prime? No, but that's not his fault. He moved up in weight to fight some people. He sought out difficult opponents and matchups. You know, the same way he was like, oh, Floyd didn't necessarily fight some of the best names in his resume at the best time in their career. Not his fault. Floyd went up and sought people out. So Canelo's sitting there like, yeah, I don't give a shit. And he's pretty much the only guy that can really say that right.
I feel I'm the best, and that's it. I don't focus on if the people say or put me in the first position, I'm the best. I feel I'm the best. I'm doing because I love boxing.
I call Canelo out because, like I said, he the last great fighter amongst the era that surpassed us. This is my mega fight. This is my moment.
You didn't have much interest in this Crawford fight. You were saying that there wasn't much in it for you, and you pointed out that people will say that he was too small. What changed?
I think he's one of the best fighters for more fun. No, he accomplished a lot of things too. Mexican with the American fighter is always big.
When he fights you at Allegiant Stadium,
Canelo's like, I knew the money was crazy. That's why he's like, yeah, I knew that the Mexican fighter versus the American fighter, Canelo can draw Allegiant Stadium. That's what it is. I mean, yes, there's the element of greatness involved as well. But Canelo knew he was getting a bag for this. Canelo knew that Terence had to do all the difficult stuff. Let's be honest about it. This is why I favor Canelo in the fight.
Max Kellerman says the upcoming fight with Terence Crawford is the biggest of Canelo Alvarez's career, even though Canelo has already earned a Hall of Fame legacy across many weight divisions. Kellerman argues no past win matches the importance of facing Crawford. He says this fight will decide if Canelo becomes untouchable in history, or if doubts remain about whether he can overcome the toughest challenge boxing has to offer.
One thing about Canelo is he's been in a million big events. And I'm gonna ask him about this just between you and me when he gets here, don't tell him, but has he ever been in a bigger fight than this one? Is this everyone knows this is easily the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career. But has he ever been in a fight as big as Canelo Alvarez, who's been in a million huge fights? Floyd Mayweather, that was huge and that was Floyd, but he was young then. He was young and he wasn't gonna be in front of, 50 million people worldwide. Because this ain't a pay-per-view. This is available to everybody. I think Triple G, those were big fights, but not like this.